Well, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us today. We are recording this session, so you'll be getting a link after the webinar. But we're very pleased to have Natalie with us from Parasoft, who's going to show us the latest feature in version 2025 for RecXpress for Bank Services, which is the direct bank feeds. So if you have any questions through the presentation, please feel free to drop those into the chat box, and we will get to those at the end of the session. And otherwise, I will pass it over to Natalie.
Thank you so much, Nancy, and thank you for organizing this session. We really do appreciate it. Today I've got with me Azakiwe and also our head developer, Wayne. What we're really just going to show you is our latest feature, which is the Sage Bank Feeds integration, which has been released with our version 2025. I do just want to mention before I continue, I just want to say thank you everyone for your continued support. Parasoft has had a very great year, and Sage just keeps on growing, and that is because of the business partners. Okay, so let's just start with Sage Bank Feeds. Sage Bank Feeds really does bring in a automation level, that we didn't have before RecXpress, and to integrate it into RecXpress for banks gives us the opportunity to also then offer you a multitude of in your regions. So Sage Bank Feeds connects to a predefined list of supported banks. You can see there in this screenshot, there's a whole drop down of countries that are available. There you can highlighted the popular banks for USA, which includes, Chase Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, etc. Users can then check if their bank is on Sage's list of compatible institutions, and if a bank is available, then there's no need for a custom bank format development, making onboarding faster and more streamlined within our reconciliation program, of course, RecXpress for Bank Services. The benefits with this is that it really reduces the time and effort required for setup while providing direct out-of-the-box functionality for supported banks. I think something important that I need to mention is there currently isn't a direct way for Parasoft to add new banks to Sage's supported list. So you will have to go through the usual options of either using the RecXpress developed bank formats. I think we have around 250 bank formats already available. And then, of course, you can request a custom format from Parasoft. Otherwise, we do recommend contacting Sage to inquire about adding additional banks to their bank feeds. What this feature really ensures is flexibility in handling unsupported banks while still allowing you to fully utilize RecXpress's powerful functionality. How do you get the bank feeds going in RecXpress for Bank Service? The first place you'll start is creating a rules template. In this rules template, you would use the format Sage e-statements. Okay, the Sage, this is the bank feed that this is the bank format that Sage Bank Feeds operates. Okay, this format is specifically designed for seamless integration with RecXpress, ensuring all statements retrieved are compatible with our functionality. It streamlines transaction processing by eliminating the need for additional configuration or format adjustments. Now, I do just want to mention, the Sage Bank Feeds, it brings in a level of automation, but it doesn't necessarily in the level of customization that our custom bank feeds offer. But once I show you the functionality, you will see, that other positive aspect of it, of that automation. Okay. So once you've created your rules template for Sage Bank Feeds, you would then begin the connection. So you'd go into your normal single import screen, you'd load the rules template that you've just created, and right below there, you can see that the import button is no longer the import button. It now says process statement. So you would select process statement and you would get this window, import into RecXpress. And you can see right there in the top right corner, there is the option to now connect your bank feed. Okay. So once you've connected your bank feed, you can then view, retrieve, and process bank statements direct to RecXpress. Once statements are retrieved, they are available all standard RecXpress functionalities, of course, reconciliation, matching. Okay, so what this then opens is when you select the Connect Bank Feed option, it then opens your bank, well, firstly, the screen to first select the that you would like to connect to. Once you select the bank that you would like to connect to, it then opens your bank portal where you would then log in with your usual username and password, however your bank logins work, your user ID, etc., your bank profile. You would then select the account that you want to bring in, and you will then authorize. Now, all these screens are bank specific because it is connecting via your bank portal. So, they all might differ. This bank that I'm showing you here is actually my South African bank. So, all these screens might differ. The screens that won't differ are, of course, where you select which bank you want to go with. And once you've completed the setup, there you will see that you'll get that success screen and you will select finish. Now, of course, every bank does vary. So once you log in, um, there is an authorization period, but that can vary from immediate to just a few hours. Okay. So I just want to also mention that this setup is a one-time process to establish a secure link with your bank account. Users log into their bank account during the initial configuration to authorize the connection. This setup does not need to be repeated unless you restore your data. I think that's an important note. Okay, so once you restore your data, you will have a reconnection. What the benefits are, of course, is that it provides a secure, hassle-free for linking bank accounts and ensuring access without repetitive logins. Okay, you no longer, if you have the bank feeds connected, you no longer have to log into the bank, manually download your statement, and then upload it, import yourself to RecXpress. Okay, so once you're connected, what happens? Well, here you can see we are now connected. This screen, I've already retrieved a statement and I've actually partially brought it in. But what would happen is as soon as you connected, it brings up an option saying, you are connected. Would you like to retrieve your bank statements? You, of course, can select yes or no. You can do this option. You can do a retrieval depending on how often your bank delivers a bank statement. So you can do it um, daily, monthly, whatever you need. Okay, so once you've retrieved, all your bank statements will then sit nicely here in this import into RecXpress screen. And what's really great about it is, I think, is the process from date range. Okay, so you can have one statement with multiple months in it, but only process certain dates that you want. So let's say you only want to bring in June. That's where you would then put in, 0601 until the end of June. And there it will say what is in the recon, and it will mention, it's only partially in the recon. So there are still transactions sitting, waiting to be brought in to RecXpress. Okay, so now we do have the integration also included in the web. There are some limitations. We are busy speaking with Sage and trying to get past these limitations. Workaround is that you can retrieve the bank statements using on-premise, and then you can go into the web UIs and actually process those statements into your RecXpress reconciliation. So that's just our workaround for now until we find a solution along with Sage. I think, Wayne, if I've missed anything, you can maybe even clarify. As far as I know, there's just a missing link, and Sage is working very hard to help us to find, where the files are going, etc. Okay, so once you've retrieved your statements, we also have the option here to view those statements. So you can see there, let me just go back a bit over here. Sorry, going up. You can see here that there's the view button at the bottom here, and that is because you can go in and actually view your statement. Okay, from this window, you can then also process the statement. So you can see there that there's multiple dates, and you would just select at the bottom here, process statement, and it will then prompt you. I do have a little demo video here showing you exactly how the whole process works. I hope it will go slow enough, but just to say, so what you'll see here is the statements will be retrieved. I will then view the statement, so you will see all the transactions that were included in that statement available to view. I will then put in a date range that I want to only process June, even though there is also May and July statement. And then you will see them be processed into the reconciliation. So there you can see the retrieval process begins, and it tells you you have retrieved 40 funds. And you can see it is not yet in the recon. So I go and I view the statement. Here you can see all the transactions that were included in that statement. And you can see it goes across a few months. And then I will go, okay, cool. I want to now process only the month of June. So I put in that date range. And then when I select statement, it of course double checks that those dates are the ones I want to go in. And there you can see they're brought into the recon, into RecXpress to then be reconciled. Okay, just like, and like I said, this is just, once it's in, it uses exactly how we would usually. So there you can see it's partially in the recon, and you can view there that which transactions have been processed into the recon and which transactions are still waiting to come in. It's a very powerful feature, and it does bring a level of automation that didn't exist. And I think from here it will just grow. Okay, so I mean, it's not. I feel like I flew through that. It's not too overcomplicated. Once you've got it running, as I said, you need to create a template using the Sage e-statements bank format that we have available in our bank formats. You create a connection. You log into your bank as if you were logging into it, outside of RecXpress, and it rises that connection, and it will then begin to retrieve statements for you. Okay. So what I also want to mention, which is coming soon, is of course in French. I do think that we mentioned it in our last session with everyone. There was a little bit of a delay, but this will be released in the new year. I think we got the go ahead from Nancy. So that will be coming. What I also want to mention is, of course, that we've included the Sage bank feeds and how to set them up. We've included that in our help. So all you have to do if you're having a bit of an issue with the setup is just select F1, and we have a step-by-step guide for you to follow, to follow on how to set those up. What I also want to mention, which has been in the pipeline, is some monthly trainings which we will offer in 2025. These sessions will be held once a month. We are, of course, open to requests and suggestions from our business partners, as these sessions are designed for you. And sorry, please excuse the weekly, it should say monthly. In addition to our monthly sessions, we are also offering private training sessions. Um, all we are working out at the moment is the best time to host these sessions, these monthly sessions, because of course there is quite a time difference. I would also like to mention, if you go to our website, you can see, all the latest features that we've released in some articles that we release on a publication called IT Web, a South African publication, and you can just keep up to date with, what Parasoft is up to and what we're busy with. And then last but not least, Parasoft TV has moved, and it's moved to our actual website now, not on a separate domain. I think, we finally pulled it all in place. So if you are looking for existing training videos like our RecXpress for bank services lesson, that is where you will find them, other than on our YouTube channel. Yeah, I know that was very short and sweet, but I think if anyone has any questions,
Thanks.
please don't hesitate.
Thanks, Natalie. So I'm just going to try unmuting everyone. So just give me 1 second here.
Wonderful.
Muted.
Sorry, guys. I see hands up, so I'm for some reason this new GoToMeeting I can mute everyone, but I can't unmute everyone. So let's just give me 1 second here. So Dean, I think I've unmuted you, so you can go ahead with your question.
Hi. Yeah, I was just wondering if you could maybe speak to the Sage Bank Feeds support for Canadian banks. My understanding was that they pulled that after the initial release, that they were using aggregators originally, Plaid and the like, and that they've pulled that support, waiting for the ability to do, direct API integration to Canadian banks, which my understanding is none of the Canadian banks support that yet. So just wondering if you could speak to that, if you're aware of any of that information.
Yeah, Natalie, do you have any information on that? Oh, sorry, I probably have to unmute her. Hang on 1 second. Okay, Natalie, you should be okay to unmute now.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was actually, I'm going to ask Wayne to actually, if he has anything on that, if you could please unmute Wayne, as he is the head
Yep.
developer, and he's been the one speaking with JT from Sage Canada.
Yep, Wayne, you should be good.
Hi, okay, you got me? Hear me?
Yep.
Great. To that question from Dean, I must be honest, I do not know enough about it. But maybe if we can have it in an email and we can approach Sage directly and ask what their view is on that from a development point of view and what's holding us back. Because as far as we know, Natalie, the Sage bank feeds are themselves available throughout all the banks. I don't know
Yes,
if there's
and
any. Sorry,
yeah,
carry
and
on.
I think the only limitation that we really know of, which is actually something I should have mentioned, but I'm not sure if this is only for the South Africa region, but the only limitation we know of is that, you need a subscription license in order to be able to run the Sage bank feeds.
Yeah, my understanding is that to get access to that data, they were relying on third-party aggregators that would scrape that data from your online banking. And the concern with that from a security point of view is the Canadian banks didn't have a separate API just to allow, token-based direct access just for reading, right? So effectively, what you're doing is giving those aggregators like Plaid, basically your full online banking login. There is no, we didn't have that API access where you could say, here's a separate, login and password or an API token that you can just read my banking data and not have full access to online banking. So, from a security point of view, I think you're violating your online banking agreement by giving them your full online login and password. And there were some issues with that. There was an incident where Sage sent out an email saying, you may have downloaded some banking information that didn't look familiar to you because it was basically some other company. So the aggregators were not, in that instance, messed up and were distributing the scraped data from different companies to different users, the wrong ones basically. So my understanding is that they've for all Canadian banks because again, I'm not aware of any Canadian banks that provide direct API access the proper way. So that's just my understanding, and I haven't heard anything otherwise.
Okay, Dean, I think, yeah, thanks for actually bringing that up. That's a very good point. We can get some clarification from Sage. So it looks like, from your point of view, it's the Canadian banks that might not be offering it. The whole bank feed that we're using here obviously is Sage's bank feed itself. So we've got no control over that, not too much inside info either, other than incorporating it and using it towards what we want to achieve. But let's find out about that and at least clarify it, because that makes sense what you said there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean.
Okay, Joanne, I see your hand up, so you're free to unmute. In fact, everybody is free to unmute if you have a question. Go ahead.
So, about bank feed, but I've got a client that really want to use Perisoft. They purchased it, but they lots of transactions that are many to many, and it becomes really time consuming because you only one to many or many to one. So I was wondering if you are having any, if it's in the pipeline to eventually allow many to many transaction.
I do know we support many to many Express for Cashbook, but I'm going to give it off to Wayne to maybe just confirm the reason as to if there is a reason as to why it is not included in RecXpress for bank services.
No, there's no clear-cut reason other than we brought in the whole many-to-many multiple matchings in the Cashbook RecXpress purely because there was a huge demand for it. Obviously with so many more clients. So that actually is in a future roadmap for RecXpress for bank services, and we can talk because it is, and it was the obvious upgrade from the RecXpress for Cashbook, and it is the obvious upgrade to look forward to in RecXpress for bank services. It's just a case of fitting it into our roadmap, but it is in the roadmap.
Okay, so do you have any idea of which version will have it, or?
No, I
No?
can't.
Okay.
You look at nothing. This version we've just released 25, so that
Mhm.
upgrade we're talking about, a many to many, is quite a big upgrade with multiple new tables, fields, and a couple of screens. So it would be a version upgrade. So it won't be before the 26 release at any rate.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? You've got great resources on the line right now with us, so if you have any questions, now's the time.
Actually, I had my hand up before the questions, Nancy. I just wanted to add something to Natalie said with the bank feeds. Important to note, a good feature of it is that it prevents duplicates from being brought in.
Yes.
Something a lot of clients were asking for with a lot of with different date ranges for different statements. The Sage Bank Feeds has got a built-in last transaction ID counter that prevents you bringing in the same transactions twice. Just worth noting.
That's great.
Thank you, Ben.
Alrighty. Well, if there are no other questions, then we want to thank you for spending the time with us today. As I mentioned, we've recorded this session, so I will put it up on our YouTube channel and I will send everyone here a link to it. And if you do come up with any additional questions, just let me know and I can pass those along to Natalie and Wayne. So thanks
Sure.
very much for your time. Thanks very much, Natalie and Wayne. Really appreciate it.